is Dr. Butts. He needs to minister our leg.
I last saw him watching a juggler. A music fellow juggled 5 balls.
Charles, we care not for jesters. We need relief from this pain.
I warned your majesty not to partake in the dance this morning. Your jousting is not fully healed.
Jane wanted to dance, so we danced.
Well, let Brian or Seymour partner her.
Should a man not dance with his intended bride?
A very chivalrous action, however, your jousting injury.
Enough talk of the jousting injury. The accident was in January. Why are we not yet healed?
Alas, as we get older, I find our hurts are in no hurry to heal.
Thank you, Charles. Mayhaps thou should not speak of jousting accidents, since thou thyself once did almost put out my eye.
I thank God every day that no serious injury happened.
Could have done. Fools surround me.
Well, in fairness, you forgot to put your visor down.
You charged at me with your lance, hit my helmet, splinters crash on my head and in my face, and it is my fault?
Of course not, your majesty. That was over a decade ago now. As we get older, our memories are not as sharp.
Will you stop saying we are getting older? Art thou comparing thyself to thy king?
Oh, never, your majesty. Forgive me.
We are sorry, old friend. Emphasis on the old, as you are 7 years our senior.
I'm beginning to feel the weight of those years, I fear.
But your marriage to young Catherine Willoughby is a happy one?
Yes, it is. We are very compatible, and I am sure that Mistress Seymour will also prove an excellent wife. An admirable queen.
We are eager for the wedding day, but first for the betrothal. We thought the signal would have been sounded by now.
I await the signal, your majesty.
Waiting. We tire of waiting. Still, that woman, Anne, interferes in our happiness still. And those men, my friends, traitors all!
And have paid the price with their lives. It is finished, and you can look forward to the future.
Can we? Are we allowed but a moment's peace and happiness? Cromwell, give me the papers.
What is this?
From Reginald Poe.
Oh, how is he?
Alive and very talky, full of advice. This missive is from Venice.
How nice! How is the weather?
Let us read, shall we?
Do you need your spectacles?
No, we do not need our spectacles. Poe's handwriting is bad and in a cramped humor that denotes a cramped style that denotes a defect in his humor. Look for yourself.
Oh, the unity of the church. Oh my.
Daughter, how fare you this day?
Oh, wonderfully well, your majesty, and so grateful to have the stage to share with the Countess of Salisbury.
You have missed your former governess, have you?
Very much, your majesty. She's both a loving teacher and companion.
A tutor's employ is not strenuous, but one has such a talented and quick-witted pupil. Your majesty, I thank you for the kindness of allowing me to see the Lady Mary.
A kindness, you say?
One of many you have bestowed on the Pole family.
That is true. You became countess in your own right. You petitioned for the return of the earldom of Salisbury to be returned to you, and we granted it.
For which I am most grateful.
And we have helped all of your family members, paid for much of your son Reginald's education at Oxford.
For which we will never forget.
Never forget, you say?
We are indebted to you and loyal.
Wonderful to hear, for we have just received a letter. Nay, not a letter, a toad from your son Reginald, currently in Venice. Would you like to read it?
No, your majesty, I would not presume to.
Oh no, we insist. Presumed. Although we have not read the entire missive, Cromwell will point out some salient passages to you. Oh no, my dear. Read it aloud, so all can hear.
No one can call me anything but a faithful and trustworthy servant. I have long been aware that you have given definite evidence of being afflicted with a serious and most dangerous disease.
Seems your son is not only a deacon of the church, but also a physician. Read on.
I could conceive of no greater injury you could inflict upon the church than to abolish the head of the church from the face of the earth. You do exactly this when you deny that the Roman pontiff is the one head of the church on earth and set yourself up as supreme head of the church of England. Your Majesty, I feel sick.
Read on.
No new scruple troubled you when you dismissed your first wife, Queen Catherine, on the pretense that the law prevented you from keeping her. You had her as wife for all of 20 years without any fear of the law. If the law moved you, why did it move you so late? You would deprive your only daughter Mary of her inheritance to your realm and instead want your heir to be the daughter of a prostitute.
If you cannot read, you shall listen. Cromwell!
The first years of your reign, you carelessly poured out large sums of money. You always considered the nobility with scorn. You never loved the people. You plundered and molested the clergy in every way possible. If only you would not deceive yourself. If only you would recognize the destruction that is imminent. There is a cure. Do penance. Truly, I have revealed the truth of God's opinion. I have shown your sin.
Your son dares to tell me, the King of England, that he better knows God's opinion?
Your Majesty, I know not what to say.
How dare he correct and advise his king?
His words are his own. I repudiate him and will write and tell him of his folly.
His folly! Drinking too heavily at the new year is a folly. This is treason.
Your Majesty, I beg your forgiveness for our family. Know of our devotion and loyalty to you.
Do we have thy devotion, daughter of York? Plantagenet blood flows through thy veins still. Mayhaps thou thinkest this throne is thine?
No. Know our place and serve you with our lives.
I expected no less. Now leave my sight and attend on Mistress Boleyn.
Your Majesty,
Seymour,
Father!
I require no argument from you. Attend on your soon-to-be lady mother. No, Charles, it goes on. He writes of having the Emperor Charles depose me.
Shocking! And he never did say how the weather was in Venice.
Charles!
I am not making light of this traitorous tract. Home is in Venice. There is naught which can be accomplished at this moment. But in the other chamber waits a lovely young woman who will soon be your wife. Do not let the ramblings of a man clearly mad ruin that happiness.
I shall listen to your words, old friend. Oh, enough of this matter. Cromwell, take care of this. Come, let us now enjoy the ladies.
As you wish, Your Majesty.
Excuse me, Master Secretary.
Yes, Lady Boleyn.
A word.
I have a moment. What can I do for you?
I wanted to thank you in person for all your help these past several weeks. It has been difficult.
I have no doubt it has been a struggle. Have your financial situation been resolved?
Yes, my father-in-law has established a pension for me.
Good.
I also wanted to thank you for inviting me on the Progress. It will be most helpful to secure a place with the new queen.
Mistress Seymour is not queen yet.
They will marry in haste, and she will quickly need to assemble the ladies in her service.
The sister of Anne Boleyn in attendance to Jane Seymour.
I have no quarrel with Mistress Seymour.
She is a goodly lady and kind. However, you are recently widowed. Perhaps it would be best to retire from court.
Retire to what? Nay, I expect to receive some cold stares and to hear the twittering of gossip behind fans. But I'd rather be at court with foes than forgotten in the countryside.
I very much understand that.
I have interrupted your work, Master Cromwell. I only wanted to thank you. I shall leave you in peace.
Finally, she's gone. Imagine that. Jane Seymour, whose husband most recently had his head separated from his shoulders, and whose sister-in-law will be joining him in hell at any moment, dare show her face in the Seymour family.
Sir Edward, I believe she was showing her face to me, not to you.
You should be thankful. I believe the Viscountess Rochford has helped make it possible for your sister to soon be queen. Huzzah! On that, Cromwell, a word.
Yes, Master Seymour?
We've been talking. Not only did the 5 men found guilty with Anne Boleyn forfeit their lives, but, more importantly for their treason, they also forfeited lands and titles. Is that not so?
Yes, 'tis so.
Weston had a little park in Windsor, some excellent hunting grounds there. I have it by good authority that Richard Staverton, that oafish lawyer, has his eye on the property. Absurd. Who does he think he is?
Obviously a man in need. He's already written me letters about it, something to do with providing for his 14 children.
Ah, the bloody cheek of the man!
Sir Francis, all properties, titles, and positions will be considered. His Majesty will bestow them as he sees fit.
As it should be. I have no doubt my future brother-in-law will approach it soberly and wisely.
Have no fear, every man will receive his due.
We wish to discuss this further, but the king will notice our absence. We should away.
A word later then, Master Secretary. I mean, of course, I should get the Windsor land. I mean, Weston owed me 5 crowns at a loss for Primero last month. I'll never get that now, will I? And by the way, we have the same first name. Does that count for nothing?
Oh, if it would only be but one word.
Master Cromwell, un momento, por favor.
My lord, Don Pedro, yes, of course.
The Duke of Florence and I saw that you were alone and wanted to speak privately.
See, the king and his men are toasting his forthcoming betrothals with tankers of English ale. We had to escape.
We wanted a word on the behest of his Holy Roman Emperor, Charles.
Speak freely in front of Donna Tadea. We have no secrets from each other. She may not be my wife in name, but she is the wife of my heart.
Very well.
When we first arranged this voyage from Florence, the situation here in England was very different. Emperor Charles concerned for his niece, the princess, Lady Mary.
And now Mary's mother, Catherine, is dead. And the king's second wife will soon meet her end at the Tower. Everything has changed.
It is our hope that Mary will once again be made heir to the English throne.
The Lady Mary must bend to her father's will. However, many of the impediments standing in her way are no longer there.
It is a shame. I had hoped to meet one of these impediments. I have heard reports that Anne Boleyn is a stylish, witty, and intelligent lady.
She was also arrogant and headstrong.
Alas, the intriguing qualities men find so appealing in a mistress are seldom the qualities one looks for in a wife. Mistress Seymour, for example, quiet, demure, obedient, and dull.
Oh, Tadea, no matter how insightful your opinion on Mistress Seymour may be, it has no bearing on this conversation, eh?
I think the lady forgets that this is not simply an issue of what makes a good wife. In this case, we are also discussing the qualities of a good queen. Those Anne Boleyn did not have. I fully hope that Mistress Seymour will bring peace and calm to the king's household, as well as provide an heir.
As we all do wish, but until that time, Emperor Charles impresses upon you the importance that Lady Mary be restored to her title and be made heir to the English throne once more.
The Lady Mary knows what she must do to be fully welcomed back at court. She must recognize her father as head of the church and her parents' marriage as unlawful.
But how can she, in good conscience, condemn her sainted mother?
Well, the sting of bashing is great, but one can prevail. I had no expectation of the dukedom, and yet here I am, the Duke of Florence.
I have been in conference with the Lady Mary, and I believe she will acquiesce to her father's commands and be restored as heir to the throne. Rest assured, England very much wishes to forge a stronger alliance with the Emperor.
Bene, it all works in our favors, no?
Except for Anne Boleyn. Your Grace, we must return. I will rejoin the ladies.
We shall speak more later, Master Cromwell. I admire you. A practical man like myself. Some view my policies in Naples as harsh, but I made many improvements. remove impediments to progress. You understand that? Lady Anne Boleyn was an impediment to many.
An alliance with the Emperor, for instance. She favored France, and now she is gone. Problem removed, no?
I removed nothing. No one is above the law. She was charged with adultery and conspiracy against the king.
And she is paying the price. I find it strange that King Henry keeps marrying for love. This seems to be the cause of his problems, no?
Englishmen are strange, Your Majesty. I believe it's the weather. Ultimatum. How's it going?
Oh, pardon us, gentlemen. We did not realize anyone was in this chamber.
We have concluded our meeting. Mistress Jane Seymour. No apology needed.
Ladies only here, please. We are nearing the hour of Jane's betrothal, and we need to prepare. I shall rejoin the Duke, as this moment is just for close friends and family. Oh, Donna, today, do stay. I was just in the middle of a story about my new decorations at my chambers at Greenwich.
Alas, Lady Seymour, we are expected at the mayor's house for refreshments and to discuss your fine English wool.
Oh, how dull for you. But I know better than anyone that duty comes first. Well, Donna Tadeo, I shall finish my story at the betrothal banquet this evening. I shall count the hours, Lady Seymour.
Ladies, I shall attend on His Majesty.
Oh, can you imagine? The Duke brought his mistress on this official visit, and he expected the first ladies of the land to entertain her. Absolutely disgraceful. I personally was offended. And her dress, what was she thinking?
I admit to being taken aback at the situation, but her gown is lovely and she is very pretty.
Oh, she is attractive in a mistressy sort of way, if you like that sort of thing. Did you know that the Duke of Florence is the illegitimate son of Lorenzo de' Medici? And the Duke's young wife is the illegitimate daughter of Emperor Charles? Those people on the continent have no morals. Not like we do in England.
Changing the subject.
Oh, dear me. Not that there's anything wrong with being illegitimate, my lady. I mean, it's not your fault, really. And you didn't start out that way. I mean, if you blame anyone, it is the fault of Anne Boleyn.
I suggest you stop speaking, Lady Seymour.
Have you selected your wedding gown?
I should like your advice. I cannot decide betwixt my blue gown and a white and silver dress.
And white? For a wedding? No. You are far too pale for a white dress. Mayhaps your green gown? Now, my wedding dress
It was
was
the most beautiful wedding dress in all the world, we've no doubt.
Yes, it was. Have I told you about my wedding banquet? Several times. If you'll excuse me, I require a word with my Lady Margaret. Ooh. I needed a moment away from her chatter.
And I a moment with you in confidence. Mary, I'm consumed with worry about the letter Reginald wrote to the king.
He wrote the truth about a good many things, my good lady mother and the ruinous influence of Anne Boleyn. All of this is her doing, not the king.
It never should have been written at all. You know of my devotion to your mother, but we serve at the king's pleasure. Until this matter is settled with Reginald, I will keep from court. And you must obey your father in all things.
I could never betray my mother and say her marriage was invalid.
Your mother would never have questioned your loyalty, but she would want you to reconcile with the king and regain your rightful place as heir. Your very greatest asset now is Mistress Jane Seymour. She will do far more for you than I ever could.
Very well.
Now let us go rejoin the others.
And that is when I discovered that smoked eel does not agree with me.
A lesson for us all.
Oh, Jane, it is so exciting. Soon you will be queen. I wonder what title I will have.
I can think of a few.
Well, the king's brother and sister-in-law must have a title. Oh, and Jane, the truths. Anne Boleyn may have been a horrid woman, but she had excellent taste in clothing and jewelry.
Sister, please, that is unseemly.
Oh, come now, Jane. It is only being practical and taking what will rightfully be yours. Oh, and she had a lovely collection of French woods.
I prefer the English wood.
Oh, no, Jane. The French
French it is far more flattering.
I would prefer my ladies to wear the English hood.
No, the French hood.
It shall be as I wish it to be.
Well, of course, it will be your prerogative.
Yes, it will be. Oh, ladies, my head doth ache. I would like a moment alone to rest mine eyes.
Certainly. Should we get you a doctor?
Oh, no, just a quiet moment alone will cure me.
As you wish. Well, that did not take long at all. Mistress Seymour is on my throne.
Anne Boleyn.
No need to rise, I'm no longer queen.
I was not going to.
I must say, I still cannot imagine what Henry was thinking. And you, betraying me, your queen, your mistress?
And what of you? You were Catherine's lady. Did it give you pause?
Ah, the king's first marriage was not legitimate. He pursued me for 7 years before we wed. And how long for you? Not 7 months.
I am not worthy of his love, but I will do my duty.
Oh, spare me, Jane, the virtuous lady, meek, mild. Yet underneath that demure facade lies ruthless ambition.
Hardly, Anne. The king paid court to me. I did not encourage it, and I would not be his mistress.
Well, neither would I. I was his wife. And you know those charges were false and I was faithful to him.
I only know that you were sent to the tower and there were 5 men put to death.
But you were there. You were a lady in my chambers. You know those charges were false. Innocent men lost their lives because Henry wanted to marry another.
I'm not responsible for the deaths of 5 men. You will not blame me.
No, that was Cromwell. He was determined to ruin me. And when Henry was bored and his eye began to wander, Cromwell pounced at the opportunity. Well, if it happened to me, it could happen to you.
It won't.
Oh, of course it will. Dull little Jane. You think the king won't tire of you within the year? By New Year's Day, he'll be dancing with another. Perhaps one of those lovely Bassett sisters?
Nay, that will not happen because I am not you. You push him aside with your arrogance and your constant arguments and your meddling in state affairs. If I have learned anything on how to live with the king, it is to do the exact opposite of Anne Boleyn.
Oh, the quiet Jane hath found her tongue. Well, you have succeeded. Of all the ladies in court who I feared might catch the king's eye, I never thought it would be you. The king loves to discuss books and ideas. How will you keep up? You know he will find you tedious.
There are many brilliant men at court who can discuss matters of religion and state. Perhaps the king has discovered he prefers the quiet peace of a happy home, and that I can give him. Spare me lectures on how to keep a husband happy, for you were not a successful tutor.
What goes through your mind, Jane, as you prepare to marry the king? Do you spare a thought for me?
I pray for you, but I will not deny my happiness, the happiness of the king, and the advancement of my family because of your mistakes and sins. That is not to do with me.
Pray for me. But pray for yourself. You can trust no one, Jane. Those courtiers, they're friends and family of those unjustly executed in the tower, and yet not a fortnight later, they fight amongst themselves for land and title and jewels. Oh, and Anne Stanhope gets none of my French hoods.
They could do nothing to stop what happened. They are not at fault. Times have changed. They were taking advantage of opportunity and nothing more.
It is still unkind. I regret I was not kinder to Mary. Oh, Jane, please be kind to my Elizabeth.
I do not believe the sins of the parents are on their children. I will care for Elizabeth and Mary. They are the king's daughters.
Being queen, Jane. It is not all you think it will be.
I am not a fanciful young girl. I know
Jesu receiveth my soul.
Mr. Seymour, I have come to give word that Anne Boleyn has been executed. England is free. The king awaits upon you to begin the betrothal ceremony.
Thank you, Sir Francis.
Should you need a moment to prepare, or may I accompany you?